Meta-Model 4, a few advanced notes for all those superior beings. It is said that superior beings are watching this, and those with a special chi energy that is transmitted from an undisclosed location will be resonating with your quantum state of your mind, bringing you into profound trances of enlightenment, as it is written, or not. So, some advanced notes. And as you may notice, we are learning the meta-model here in a very indirect way. So I'm using an indirect teaching technique and a very circuitous teaching technique, and a technique that involves various nestings and loopings and some of the tricks of the trade of NLP to demonstrate how those work as well. So you're actually getting a multi-level learning. We're using the meta-model as a means or a substrate of teaching other stuff, and we're using other stuff as a means of teaching the meta-model. So I'm not sure which is the container and which is the contained. Sometimes the meta-model is the container, sometimes the meta-model is being contained by something else. Remember that stuff I used to do with what is this an example of? What is an example of this? What is this a part of? What is a part of this? Well, I had another one. What is it? What is this? What is a container of this? What is this a container for? So in this series so far of meta-model discussions, we have been doing a lot of work with containerizing, containerizations, and containing. What is the contained? What is containing? What is containing the contained? And we can do some marvelous advanced phenomenological work that really does go beyond the NLP as it's understood right now, the standard sort of theories of NLP, and take it to new levels. They say that it can go to a new level, and that can cause surprising changes, which is like having a glowing blue energy around you. And it happens. Yeah. So, one point I'd like to make in the middle of all this is that John Grinder has developed the new code, and the new code is very much centered on a contact with the unconscious mind, and an interaction with the unconscious mind, a heightened sensitivity to messages and heightened clarity about messages that come from the unconscious mind. I think even when you use something as specific, well, who says it's specific? And specific in what way? And specific to whom? God, you can drive people crazy with this stuff. One should, who said one should, have, I think, some new code type training or some new code type thinking about this contact with the unconscious mind. Well, unconscious for whom? Unconscious in what way? What do you mean by mind? Can you define your terms? Okay, enough. Stop. I'm going to scream. It is very, very important to have a good rapport with the unconscious, a good rapport with your own unconscious, and a good rapport with another person's unconscious, or whoever you are, quote, meta-modeling, if you're meta-modeling them, or if you're meta-modeling yourself. And it's very important, who says it's important? We say it's important, to have this ability to use the unconscious mind as a guide, to know when to come in with a meta-model question. At what point do you use it? With how much stress do you put on it? You know, I've seen some people that really come in there with this just prosecutorial, how specifically, when specifically, who specifically, why specifically, which specifically, and you just want to tear their hair out, or you tear your own hair out. You know, it becomes almost a technique for breaking rapport. Like if you really want to break rapport, in just an amazingly effective way of breaking rapport is to misuse the meta-model. The meta-model can be the rapport breaker, deal breaker, just bust it up, man. You know, just throw a meta-model in there and go crazy. It's like, it's basically like going to a birthday party with a chainsaw, you know, turning the thing on and just swinging the chainsaw around. People just clear out, and if you really want to know if you're misusing NLP techniques, people just clear out. They just get out of your way. They just, boom, they're gone. So I would say, yeah, go study if you can. Get to one of John's or Peter's, or Peter and John with new code training, and get some serious new code training. I think new code training is very misunderstood. I think it's misrepresented by some people. I think it's misunderstood by many people. I think it's criticized and basically trivialized by people who don't understand the value of it. But you have to have something like that backstopping or working with the meta-model so it flows very naturally and in rapport and sort of in sympathy with the processes, the internal processes of the person you're working with. You don't need to ask a ton of meta-model questions. You need just to ask the right ones at the right time with the right feeling that points to the right critical point that can change someone's understanding. So that's where the difference between, I would say, a very intuitively, deeply trained, skillful communicator, therapist, NLP performer, and someone who just sort of read a book and they're just going out there and using this stuff crudely. The person who really has the right intuitions and the right sense and the right feeling for where to use it is the one who's going to use it with masterful effectiveness. So they'll just find that right little blank point, or that right little sort of unfilled in gap, or that right little unspoken moment, that little absence, or that little sort of pause, that little bit of something where something needs to be brought into clarity and to the right amount and the right degree for the right purpose. And I know you could be meta-modeling all of this to pieces. And then it becomes part of a real master's skill set. And it's not just going in there with a bunch of dental tools and drilling at everything. Someone who misuses the meta-model is basically like someone who has gotten a hold of a dental drill and has brought people off the street and then it's just started experimentally seeing what they can do with that drill into someone's mouth that has no nerve blocks. Okay, how's that for a metaphor? That's what, to me, a bad meta-model is like. And to me, a really beautifully used meta-model is like watching a masterful magician that really has some amazing card tricks, and they just pop out of nowhere. They say, "What card were you thinking about?" And pop, it's the 7 of spades. And you're like, how do they do that? It's like they're so smooth and they're so silky with the cards. It's like a pleasure to watch it work. So that's where we want this thing to go. We want this thing to become like a graceful and artful and in tune with the unconscious processes, very in tune with your own unconscious processes, very in tune with other people's unconscious processes, and sort of knowing when you've got the permission and the right moment to use it. And that's part of having a theory of the meta-model, a theory of application. How do we apply this? When do we apply it? When is it appropriate to apply it? When is this person comfortable with it? And when is this going too far? So I want you to also put all that in mind and get that kind of going together. And as we proceed more deeply, we can go on and on and on with this. I think your general understanding is something which is integrated, okay, well integrated with your unconscious mind, is when you will get the beautiful effect of it and not just the kind of textbook effect. So let that thought percolate around in your brain for a little bit and then we'll continue.